Hey everyone, my name is Caitlin and I'm one of the animal care specialists here at the San Antonio Zoo. Today I am here live with you with a couple of my favorite animals to talk about, which are our Nile hippopotamuses. So here at the San Antonio Zoo, we have two hippos. Their names are Uma and Timothy. Now Uma has lived here at the zoo for quite a while. She is 45 years old, you guys. On average, hippos live anywhere between 25 and 35 years. So at 45 years of age, she's a little bit over that average lifespan, but she's doing great. She interacts with her keepers and with her poolmate, Timothy, who happens to be her grandson. Now, Timothy is almost 5 years old. He was born in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and came here to live with Uma a few years ago. So what's really fun is that he and Grandma get to hang out and spend lots of time together. Now, one of my favorite things to talk about, not necessarily just about the hippos in this pool, but about some of the other animals that live in this exhibit as well. We have a bunch of fish in this pool. Those are mostly African cichlids. What's really cool about these guys is they're not in there to feed the hippos. Hippos are herbivores, but the fish will go up and they'll actually pick off any dead skin cells or any old food from the hippo's skin and even from inside the hippo's mouths. Sometimes the hippos will open their mouths big and wide underwater, and the fish will swim in there and pick out any old food from their teeth, kind of like their little hippo dentists, which is lots of fun. So the hippos get a bath and the fish get a meal, which is super cool. Now, hippos have a ton of really amazing adaptations that help them to thrive in their natural environment. One of my favorite things about hippos is their eyes, their ears, and the nostrils of their nose are all located on the very top part of their head. This allows them to come up to the surface of the water, get a breath, and take a look and listen around without having to lift their entire super heavy head out of the water. Now typically, hippos will breathe air and take a breath every 3 to 5 minutes or so, but they're capable of holding their breath for up to 30 minutes. Now, can you guys out there hold your breath for a whole episode of SpongeBob? Because the hippos can. Another really fun thing about the hippos that you might notice right here at the window is they have lots of whiskers on their nose and on their chin. We call those vibrissae, and those whiskers help them to sense things in their natural environment. Hippos are from Africa, and they typically live in freshwater rivers and tributaries. But the water there isn't always as clear as the water in this pool. A lot of times it's very murky. So those vibrissae all up here really help the hippos to kind of sense things in their environment that they may or may not be able to see very well. So here at the San Antonio Zoo, our hippos eat a lot of food every day. Hippos are one of the largest land animals on the planet. So our hippos get about 90 pounds of hay every single day, as well as greens, like what you see them eating now. They're getting romaine and spinach and kale. And they also get other types of produce as extra treats. So a good example of that would be a sweet potato or a watermelon or a cantaloupe. And they really seem to enjoy those fun treats. These guys can eat quite a lot, but in their natural environment, they're grazers. They're gonna naturally come out of the rivers and they're gonna graze on grasses and low-lying shrubs. There goes Timothy eating that yummy lettuce leaf. Maybe sharing with some of those fishy friends down there. Now, another really cool adaptation that hippos have is called blood sweat. And you see this when the hippos come out of the water, and when they're out of the water, their skin secretes this mucousy, oily substance that's kind of pinkish or red in color. And that's where it gets the name blood sweat. Now, it's not blood and it's not sweat, but that's kind of what it looks like. What it is, it's a natural sunscreen. So it helps protect their skin from the hot African sun, and it also can help repel bugs. So really handy down here in Texas in the summer times when we've got all those mosquitoes. You guys can see Timothy over here. He's just kind of hanging out in the pool. One of my favorite facts about hippos is that even though they spend the majority of their lifetime in the water, they actually can't swim, not at all. You guys, they can't even float. So they actually get the name hippopotamus from the Greek word that means river horse. And that refers to how these guys are moving through the water. Can you see Uma and Timothy kind of pushing along the bottom there? They're gracefully ooching along the bottom of the pool, not swimming at all. So very fun with these guys. Are they endangered? Are they endangered? That's a great question. The answer is they are not endangered, but they are threatened. So a lot of these animals are under threat of becoming endangered because of habitat loss. So a lot of dams that are being built in Africa are actually fragmenting the rivers and not allowing these hippos to move as frequently up and down the rivers as what they would be able to naturally. So they're not endangered at the moment, but they're threatened to become endangered in the future if something's not done to help protect these animals in their natural environment. Something else with these really awesome animals, if you can see when Timothy or Uma open up their mouth again, they have these beautiful big teeth in the front of their mouth, and those are actually tusks, just like you would find on an elephant. They are made out of ivory, and unlike a lot of elephants, Timothy's, no, I'm not gonna open my mouth yet. Unlike elephants, hippos don't have a lot of legal protections in their natural environment, so they are poached for their ivory. So something that we can do here in the United States is to encourage the ban of ivory and the ivory trade. Where are you guys going? Come back. They're saying, oh, the lettuce is over that way, Caitlin. Here we go. So that's another really fun and interesting fact about hippos and their conservation. Now, if you guys have any other questions, you can go ahead and type those into the comment section. We'll answer those questions as best I can, because I love our hippos and I could talk about them all day long.
Jacqueline would like to know how much they each weigh.
That's a great question, Jacqueline. So Timothy actually weighs right around 2,670 pounds. Now we know that because we have a really cool scale built into the floor of their barn inside, and he walks over it every single day so we can keep a good track of their weight. Uma, on the other hand, is a little bit more shy of her scale, and that's okay, but we estimate that she weighs somewhere between 4,000 and 4,500 pounds. So they're pretty big animals. But you gotta remember that Timothy is only 5 years old, so he's gonna continue to grow throughout his lifetime. An adult male hippo can grow up to 8,000 pounds. So they are huge, amazing animals. So that's a great question. Anything else?
Kelly would like to know if hippos can breathe underwater.
Oh, that's a fun one, Kelly. So no, they can't, but do you see his nostrils right here? His nostrils will pinch shut when he's underwater, which helps him to hold his breath and keep all the water out of his nose. Typically, hippos will breathe every 3 to 5 minutes, but like I mentioned earlier, they're capable of holding their breath for up to 30 minutes. So they can hold their breath a lot longer than I can underwater, that's for sure.
Jennifer's son would like to know how hippos kiss.
How do hippos kiss? Well, it's really fun when hippos come up to each other. They kind of just smush their snouts up against each other, and you do see this behavior with Timothy and Uma every once in a while. Timothy will kind of come up and mush his mouth against Grandma, and that's what I would consider a fun hippo kiss.
Where are the hippos here at the zoo from?
Where are they from? So Uma was actually born at another facility and came here when she was about 2 years old. She has lived here at the San Antonio Zoo for 43 years, so she's been here for quite a while. Timothy, on the other hand, was born in Albuquerque, New Mexico, to Uma's youngest daughter named Karen. He came to join us here at the San Antonio Zoo about 3 years ago.
Ashley would like to know what their favorite thing to eat is.
Well, that's a really fun question. Actually, my favorite thing to feed them is cantaloupes or watermelons. And sometimes we'll slice them up for the hippos, but other times we'll just drop a whole melon into the water and hippos will come up with those big giant mouths and they squash those melons, and it's very fun to watch them because sometimes they miss on their first try and then they end up chasing the melons all the way around the pool. It's very silly.
Can you tell us why they don't eat the fish?
Great question. So hippos are herbivores, and herbivores are animals that only eat plants. So the hippos will actually be really fun. They'll open their mouth underwater and the fish will come in and eat all the dead food and other extra leftover things that might be stuck in the hippo teeth. So the fish are basically hippo dentists. The fish get a meal and the hippos get a bath. Good question. Any other questions, guys?
How long can hippos live?
Great one. On average, hippos live somewhere between 25 and 35 years. But under human care, they don't have to worry about any potential predators when they're young. They don't have to worry about finding food every day, and they have access to veterinary care 24 hours a day. So like I mentioned earlier, Uma is 45 years old, well above the average life expectancy for a hippo. It's really fun to get to watch her interact with her keepers and with Timothy and all the fun things that we can offer them throughout the day.
Miranda would like to answer her daughter's question, which is, why are their teeth so huge?
That's a really good question. So they use those teeth for defense. Those big tusks that you see in their mouth right up here in front are not for eating. They're actually for defending their territory. Hippos are one of the most territorial animals on Earth, and a big male will defend a section of the river and all the females and the young that live in that area. So he will open his mouth, show off those tusks, and maybe thrash his head around, splash a lot of water, and hopefully that display will scare away any potential competition or any potential predators. That's a really good question.
And a few people would like to know, how do they swim and can they run on land?
So two-part question, so you get a two-part answer. Believe it or not, hippos can't swim at all. So you'll see these guys walking along the bottom of the river or bouncing sometimes, but they don't actually swim. However, when they're on land, they can get moving pretty quickly, up to almost 30 miles per hour.
Where do the hippos sleep?
So they can sleep in the water or out on land. So in the water, they kind of rest on the bottom, and then when they need to come take a breath, they'll rise to the surface and just let their nostrils break the top of the water, grab a quick breath, and then they sink back down to the bottom again. Now these guys can rest out on land as well, but it's not as common. Hippos will spend the majority of their lifetime in the water. They've even been known to give birth in the water. So these are some really awesome questions, you guys. If you think of any other ones, go ahead and type those into the comments section. My goodness, words are hard today. But another really fun fact about our hippos is that their closest relatives are not any animals that are found on land. Do you guys believe that hippos are more closely related to whales and dolphins than they are to any other animal on Earth? Yep, their closest relatives are those dolphins and the whales that you would find swimming out in the oceans, that big animal family that we call cetaceans.
Are they related to any other animals here at the zoo?
They are related to pachyderms, so they are related to our 3 elephant ladies that live here at the San Antonio Zoo as well. But like I said, they're more closely related to dolphins than they are related to elephants, which I think is kind of silly.
And do you guys do any training with the hippos?
We do. So a lot of the training that we do here at the San Antonio Zoo is what we call husbandry training. Basically, all that means is that husbandry training helps us take better care of our animals. So an example of good husbandry training would be getting Timothy to walk over that scale in his barn so we can track his weight and see how fast he's growing throughout his lifetime. Another really good example of husbandry training would be to work with our animals and train them for a voluntary blood sample. So basically they will stand there and allow our veterinarians to come in and take a small sample of their blood, and that's awesome because it allows us to track their health and it keeps things in a way less stressful situation than for their keepers and for the animals. So we love giving them the option to participate in their own health care.
And one last question. A few people are wanting to know about our duck friend that we see swimming around here, and if he lives here or if he's just visiting and why he's sharing a space with the hippos.
That's a really fun question too. So that duck has just decided that the hippo pool is a really good place to live. He's decided to come hang out here, and we see him fairly frequently. So the keepers have kind of given him his own name. We call him Kevin. But he is a wild duck that's just decided the San Antonio Zoo is a great place to live. And I don't blame him, because it's a great place for animals to live. So he's hanging out here with our lovely hippos, and we hope he enjoys his time. And when it's time for him to move on, we wish him the best. Alrighty guys, well, thanks for coming and listening to our Hippo Chat this afternoon. We can't wait to share more with you, some behind the scenes things and maybe some more fun animal things throughout the week. So keep an eye on our social media, and thank you so much for joining us with our hippos here at the San Antonio Zoo today.